Minimalism is not the solution. Hey friends, it's Martin here from Colorado again with baby steps towards minimalism, and this is the second part of a video that I started last week. It got too long, so I decided to split it up into two parts, looking at ways that minimalism can help you even though it's not the solution. Enjoy. Number 4, minimalism helps you spiritually. Now, I'm not an expert on all things spiritual. My spiritual journey is very simple. I'm Christian. I come from an evangelical Christian background, so I can't comment too much on different philosophies. But the Christian faith, despite the kind of mega church approach to things, is very much based around having what you need and not having anything more. Or, Jesus himself said, if you've got 2 coats, give your spare coat to someone else who needs it. But I think a lot of philosophies have this similar approach. If you have more than you need, give to somebody who needs. And also, again, it's about then having the time to spend time studying, meditating, whatever your philosophy heads towards, whatever it emphasizes. Having more time to do that is good. And not having the distractions. It is, in this day and age, and again, speaking from a Christian perspective, it is really hard to take time out to have a quiet time to do some Bible study and spend time in prayer. The reason for that, I think, is smart devices. When we wake up in the morning, what do? We pick up our phone, we check our email, we look at the weather, we look at whatever the news, whatever has gone on, and then we get straight on in our day. Before we had smart devices, before we had the internet, it was much easier. And I know this because I grew up, I am, what do we call them, exennial? I was born in 1978. There is a period of time where generations get a bit confused between about 77 and 82, 83, and I think they call us exennials. But we grew up in a time before any of that. I was 17 when I had my first computer, 18 when I first went on the internet. Finding 15 minutes to spend time focusing on your faith, your spirituality. In my case, reading the Bible for 10 minutes and then spending 5-10 minutes in prayer. That was easy to do in the 90s. Now I find it really hard. And it's something that I need to work harder on, particularly as a worship leader in a church. Having less distractions, having more time, helping you focus on yourself and then outwards and upwards, I think is a really positive thing. What are we on? 5. Minimalism helps you mentally. This is all about peace, inner peace. Now, somebody commented in a video a few weeks ago, I'm not so sure about the decluttered thing. Look at Einstein's desk. So I googled Einstein's desk and I didn't find clutter. What I found was somebody who was a genius and had lots of ideas on the go. So I had lots of papers and books and research stuff that he was focused on that clearly brought him joy and that he was taking in and putting out. That is not clutter. Yes, it was untidy. Some people work better in an untidy environment. I am not one of those, but some people are. But everything there was part of his focus. Also, he was an exceptional man who would have done great things regardless of his situation, although I don't know whether he would have perhaps got as much done in this day and age with so many distractions. For me and for many people, having less coming in helps us find peace. And peace is a thing that I think, goes through the whole body. Peace as in, if you are not constantly thinking about fashion. Now, the minimalist aesthetic of a simple wardrobe, a small wardrobe of things that go together, the capsule wardrobe that lots of people talk about. Now, capsule wardrobe for men is pretty irrelevant because all our clothes go together. But I do understand absolutely where, from a female perspective, a capsule wardrobe is a great thing. For a man, we have shirts, we have t-shirts, we have jeans, we have shorts. That's basically it. And formal wear, obviously. So not following and going along a kind of following fashion too closely, not having to make too many decisions about what to wear, what to do, how to spend our time. It all ties together, but I think it's another facet. Also, I find personally that if I'm working in an untidy room, part of me wants, and my parents would be shocked at me saying this, certainly compared with how I was as a teenager, but part of me wants to stop what I'm doing and tidy up all the time. But then part of me thinks, no, I need to focus on what I'm doing, so I don't. And then I get frustrated because I'm in an untidy space and it exacerbates, and then I get nothing done because I'm stressing about the fact that I'm not working because I want to tidy, but I'm not tidying because I want to work. This is very much part of the inner turmoil and dialogue that goes on with me. It may not affect you like that, but I'm a screwed up individual. What can you do? Number 6, minimalism, I think, helps you understand others better. Now, again, potentially controversial, but particularly living in Asia, but also having lived in inner city Manchester, not having the amount of stuff you have reflect the amount of money you have, or at least the amount of money you spent. A lot of the time that results in debt, which is a whole other scary issue. But not having one reflect the other, I think helps you look more realistically and more sympathetically at the world outside. Because let's face it, a large proportion of the world is not in the situation that we are as people who are approaching minimalism as a journey. And the reason I say this is because they don't have the option. A large proportion of the world have enough to get by and that's it, or sadly not even enough to get by, and so they're struggling and they're scraping and doing everything they can, legal or otherwise, to get themselves into a comfortable situation. Those of us who have enough money to have excess stuff are very, very fortunate financially. But also, if you have enough and nothing more, you have a simple life. Do you not find when you see people like that they're often happier? People in Africa, people in Indonesia, they are, a lot of the time, unless they're in severe poverty, they are very happy people because they enjoy what they have. And yet, Brits are particularly a bad example of this. Americans, Australians, Chinese, they're not happy people. And yet they have more. So I think minimalism really helps us to empathize with other people's situations. Not only that, it then enables us to be generous and to give and to help other people. And that is an important thing. I talked about this a few weeks ago in my 3 key tenets of life. Finally, number 7, because 7 is the right number. I think minimalism helps you be more grateful. both for the things you have, because you've gone through and intentionally made purchases or intentionally decided to keep hold of things that bring you joy, that reward you, that benefit you for having them, which is huge. And you don't get as complacent about stuff, I think. But I also think it helps you to, as I say, as part of this whole greater worldview, not only appreciate what you have, put more appreciation into the impacts the decisions you make have on yourself, your finances, the people around you, and the wider world. It's something that I have really found in my life. I realized a few years ago that I was a fairly selfish person. I still think I'm not great. It's something that I am working towards as part of, because minimalism is a journey that's part of a wider personal journey for me, in terms of making myself into a better person, a more rounded person, a more generous person, a more creative person. These are things that to me are important and I am working towards in my own personal development. I think I've always been fairly nice, polite, friendly. Not always, I'm not the most sociable person in the world, just because partly of the way I grew up. I'm not a tactile person or anything like that. But I realised, as I say, a few years ago, I realised that I was pretty selfish. I was not generous. I thought more highly of myself than I did of other people. And I think consumerist culture encourages that. I think it encourages us to think just about ourselves. And if we're thinking about ourselves, we're not being generous with our time, with our stuff. We're always looking at, what can I get? What can I bring in to benefit my life? And I don't think that bringing things in, getting things, very often benefits our life. I think a lot of the time it actually serves to get in the way. So for me, being more grateful, less selfish, is something that has been a byproduct of this minimalism journey for me. So I hope this has been a thought-provoking video for you. Minimalism is not the solution. I don't think minimalism is an answer at all. I think minimalism is a process, it's a journey that you go along towards creating a solution. I think it's a part of it that will work for a lot of people. I think it benefits us in a number of ways, and I've covered 7 in this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. I appreciate this being a very long video, split over 2 weeks, but I think it's been worthwhile. Take care guys, and I'll speak to you soon.